welcome everybody to the Hot Seat Podcast. My name is Jason Wooliver. I'm the directing pastor here at Crossroads.
I'm Tim Lee, your Contemporary Worship Arts Director.
I'm Megan Honig, the Associate Pastor.
And today the hot seat gets very, very personal because we have sitting in the hot seat
Rae Lee, Tim's wife.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
And she is not going to say anything bad about me at all.
Did she sign something on that?
So I don't know what she's going to talk about.
Yeah. So I invited Rae to be on this without checking with Tim first, and she said yes before Tim could say no. So anyway, any eye contact that tries to shut down what she's saying, I'll see it.
I don't know. I saw something about a podcast, and I was like, Jason, I think you sent this to the wrong person.
So then, how long have you and Tim been married?
10 years.
10 years.
Yep.
So what?
A happy 10 years.
Happy 10? Boy, you've been married 10 and you're happy 10. That's really good. So let's start off with what is 3 things about Tim that most people don't know? Let's just...
Tim, I had 3 things about myself that people don't know.
Okay, well, you're going to do that in a second.
I just had one. Well, I don't think a lot of people realize how much musical background he has.
Okay.
Yes, because he played in a blues band, traveled all over the place with that. He played in a country band. He produced an album, one of his country singers' albums.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't think people realize how musically inclined he is. He doesn't just play the keyboard downstairs. He does a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So is he a tidy person or a messy person at home?
It depends on what part of the house it's in. If it's his studio, tends to be a little more tidy than in the rest of the house.
It's his space, right?
Yes, exactly.
Who mows the lawn?
He mows maybe the first 2 to 3 times a year, and then I mow the rest of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
He gets it rolling.
Yeah.
All right. Great.
No, it's funny because I had somebody over at the studio last week or the week before, and I'm like cleaning the whole house, and she's like, "You should have somebody over at the studio all the time." Because then you just wind up cleaning the whole house.
There you go. There you go. So Tim, what are 3 things about Rae that most people don't know?
Well, I mean, most people know she's a Cubs fan. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
That people don't know.
I'm a twin.
Yeah, she's a twin.
Yes.
Yeah. I would say
Yes.
that's...
I love your twin. What's her name?
Chris.
Chris, yeah.
Yep. We were actually the first most identical twins born at Methodist Hospital. We weighed the same, we measured the same, everything. Yep.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yep. So,
How many people can say that?
well, probably a lot more now because that was a long time ago.
Actually, nobody can say that. Only one person can say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Rae has a huge family. That's the main difference maybe between Rae and myself is that I've got a pretty small family, and Rae's extended family and kids upon kids and nieces and nephews and cousins and everything, and where I'm just, one of 3 pretty much. And
Yeah. And you're from Farmington, is that right?
Yes, I grew up in Farmington. Yeah.
Okay. And you still have family in Farmington, right?
No, actually, I don't have anybody living in Farmington now. No.
Okay. Yeah, because your mom just passed away.
Yep. And she lived with us for the past 6 years. So,
That's, yeah. And then, and Tim did the service, right?
He did.
Wow.
He did a great job.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. And so when was that? How long ago was that?
November.
November.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So let's hear a little bit about Rae. Rae is the quiet supporter of Tim the Animal Lee, who produces all of our stuff here at Crossroads and organizes all of our tech and multimedia stuff, and also gets all the praise band ready and the lights and everything ready for Sunday morning. So we want to hear about you, though, Rae. So tell us like a short biography of where you grew up, and then kind of how you got to where you are today. Because right now you serve with Alpha, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then you do a number of things behind the scenes, like you'll jump in and do things just
wherever Tim needs me.
That's cool.
Pretty much.
So let's hear about you. Let's hear about where life began.
Well, I grew up in Farmington. I am the youngest of 5. Like I said, I'm a twin, so I always had a partner in crime. And, and then I met my first husband, and I had 3 children. That marriage was not the best marriage. It was very abusive, mentally and physically. He was kind of a narcissist, an alcoholic, but at that time, I got pregnant when I was 20 years old, and then we got married. And so I just figured that's the way life was supposed to be until, I realized it wasn't. And then, I got divorced when my youngest was 1.5 years. So then the other 2 would have been 10 and 12. And it was amazing how different life was. There was like hardly any stress between the kids and I. They were doing better in school. It was just a lot better in the household. But I carried a lot of anger and frustration from my ex-husband because, he wasn't the best dad in the world. He wouldn't pay child support. He wouldn't come to any of their events. He just wasn't there like he should have been. And then I had to fill the gap, explaining and, showing up I went to all of their events because I was like the only support they had. So I remember one time my middle daughter, she liked to do the things that he liked to do, hunting, fishing, all that stuff. So it was deer season. So he's like, oh, I'll come pick you up in the morning and we'll go deer hunting. She was probably, it was right after we got divorced. So she was maybe 11, 12, something like that. She stood in her camouflage, pacing back and forth in the living room all day long. Oh. Yes. She tried calling him. He didn't answer. So finally at, 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon, it's getting dark. He messaged her and says, oh, sorry I didn't come pick you up. There was too many inexperienced hunters out and I didn't think you'd be safe. Well, couldn't you have told her that at 8:00 in the morning? So that angered me. And, there was, between the 3 kids, there was a lot that went on. And so I carried all of that. So, I carried it for years and years and years. So that was hard. That was really hard to, try to raise my children to be strong, independent women and, not take the feelings I had out on him carried through to them. I tried to let them make their own decisions on that. So yeah.
So then, how long ago was that you guys, that marriage ended?
Well, Paige is 20 and I got divorced when she was 1.5 years. So what?
18 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
So it's 18 years ago. And then, I know. So I met you 7 years ago when I started working here. Tim was working here part-time and then we came on full-time together.
Yep.
And so when did you all get married? Is that 10 years ago?
10 years ago, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So then after the breakup, you were raising the girls alone.
Yep.
And then so what else was happening in your life at that time?
Just trying to work and raise my children and, work-life balance to try to keep up with their schedules and my schedules. So, yeah. And then I met Tim at the job that I worked at. And
so she decided to quit her job because she wanted to date me, and we had a no dating policy at the office. So
Really?
That's Tim's fairy tale story.
And you're like, no. Let's just hang out as friends
podcast
twice.
story. Yeah. It's nice and, But I will say the interesting thing about Rae, an interesting fact was in Farmington, she lived on, what street was it? Prospect. Her dad lived one street over one way and her mom lived one street over the other way.
Yep.
So, there was always that relationship happening, whether it was like you turned around in like her dad was there. You'd turn around and her mom was there.
So family was just always in the home.
Right there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I had a very good support system when I was single with my children. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Yep. So,
Yeah. It's kind of rare these days.
yeah.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So then you met Tim. You were both working at the same place?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, and her twin sister was working there.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. And did you actually quit just to go on one date with him?
Sounds good though, doesn't it?
No, but honestly, okay, so this is what happened. Okay, so my parents always took my sister and I out to dinner on our birthday.
Yeah.
So we were out to dinner, and Tim had been teasing my sister all day that he was going to come crash our birthday party, whatever. So
Well, I have to say, Ray's dad. I mean, like when they go out to eat, they go out to eat. So I mean, like it's a big deal.
It's a big
So
deal.
like it sounds like a fun time, right? Come crash a birthday party. Get a free dinner.
Yeah.
Hang out.
maybe some cake.
Yeah, maybe some cake.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, I think you had sent Chris a message or something, and I don't know, it just sparked a light bulb. So I went home and I emailed him. That's how long ago it was. I emailed him, said, "Hey Tim, I missed you at dinner, whatever." And that's how the conversation started, and here we are today.
Yeah. Wow. And so then, and now you've got your daughters are grown and you have grandchildren.
We have 7.
Ah, man, so fun.
It is. It is a lot of fun. Exhausting at times, but it's a lot of fun.
And they all live nearby, right?
Yes. Yep. They all live nearby.
Okay, that's great. So then, so let's talk about your faith story in the midst of that. So you've become very active here,
Right.
the past few years. And so was that a part of your life growing up?
No, we did not go to church
Okay.
growing up. My parents just weren't like that. So this has been a big transition for me because I always knew there was a God and believed in God, but I didn't understand the power of it. Yes. So then, Tim started working here, and this is the most I've gone to church in my whole life, the whole time I've been here. So, and I didn't really want to get involved in anything until, honestly, I started going to the grow groups and stuff like that. And that's another story. Tim came home one time and he's like, "Oh, I signed us up for a grow group." And I'm like, "What? Why?" And because I had it in my head, I'm like, I don't need to talk to anybody else about it. What happens between me and God stays between me and God,
Yeah.
But honestly, it was the best thing that he ever could have done for probably both of us. Because like I said earlier, I struggled with the anger and frustration with my ex-husband. And then, through our grow groups, we talked about forgiveness a lot. And I was struggling with that. And then, I carried that for probably 15 years. And then, the more we talked about it, the more I understood it. And then all of a sudden I woke up one day and it was like this weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I didn't have the anger anymore. I didn't have the frustration. I can actually be in the same room with him now and carry on a conversation. And I just don't have any of those horrible feelings that I used to have.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you attribute that to like God and your grow group and
Yes.
just processing forgiveness?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because if I we hadn't have joined that grow group, I probably would still be struggling with it today.
Wow.
Now, was the walk to Emmaus, was that before or after we started the grow group? I can't remember. Was that?
I don't remember either.
Because that was
Maybe.
the year we had the huge Crossroads women's represented at the Emmaus walk.
Who was the lay leader on your...
Lori Estes.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
Lori Ease. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a fun time too. Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. That was big. Was that big for you, the walk to Emmaus?
Oh yeah, that was huge. That was huge. I came home after that weekend. I put this big huge post on Facebook, and it definitely leaves you on a high. That's for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just remember, I'm butting in here, but I just remember me going on the walk several years before that, and coming home and I think it came home and you're like watching TV or something, and I'm trying to tell you about it, and you're just kind of like, oh, that's nice. And,
Yeah.
and I get it. And then she comes home like with that same kind of buzz and just like, look look what happened, and this is what happened, and then blah, 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 and I'm like, yeah, I was there. I know.
That's
I know what you're
awesome.
talking about.
Yeah, that was a great experience. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. And then, so yeah, you don't remember which came first, the Grow Group or the Walk to Emmaus?
I can't remember.
I remember when you went.
Maybe
and
it
came
happened
back.
in between, right after.
Okay.
I don't remember when it.
And then you got, and so then, were at that point, were you attending church each week with Tim? Did you
I-
immediately start coming with him when he started
No.
working here?
No.
Tell about your first experience here. Do you remember that one? I remember it. The story that you told me.
About sitting down there? Yeah. Okay.
Because I would be upstairs, running sound.
Yeah.
So Rae would sit,
Yeah, I just figured you could sit wherever you wanted
Which way is
to.
this
Oh
going?
no! Oh no!
So I go and I sit down, like towards the back of the, sanctuary or whatever.
I hope you don't
and
say what I'm afraid you're going to say.
I think she is.
Yeah, I probably am. This lady kind of booted me out of my seat
Oh,
because I was sitting in her spot, and I'm like, well, there's no sign, so I thought I could sit wherever I wanted.
oh my gosh!
that's
Rae.
that's one place where I think as a church body, we have come a long way. Like
Good.
the more welcoming, like understanding of, I can sit somewhere else today because there's a new family sitting.
Yeah.
Because I see that, from the stage every Sunday. Like I'll say, oh, there's a family sitting where somebody else, and then they're sitting over here, and it's like that's like what we're supposed to do,
Yeah.
and so.
I'm like, I don't even know
Jeez,
what to
though.
say. I know.
Well, I mean, that was just, and I wasn't.
Was that your
comfortable
first time
myself.
in church ever?
Oh no, I used to go to like Sunday school when I was, in grade school with a friend.
But as an adult, that was your first time in church.
Maybe I don't remember.
Was the person nice about it?
Well, I mean, I just kind of overheard her. They just kind of walked up behind me and they're like, "Oh, she's in my seat." So then I just turned around. I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I can move. I don't care where I sit." So I just got up and moved.
Okay, man. I'm so sorry that
Now,
happened to you.
honestly, I'm the one that sits in the same seat
I'm so
every
sorry
week.
that happened to you.
So no, that's fine. That was a long time ago. So
We keep
it's
it real
no
on
big
the
deal.
podcast. don't we?
Yeah. If you're listening, never ever do that to a first time visitor. Never
Well, they
ever.
didn't know.
Anyone
They
in
didn't know.
general.
Yeah, they didn't know who I was, and it was no big deal to me. I really did not care,
Okay. All right, man.
but I kept coming back, right? So
Yeah. Wow. So okay. And so then you started coming, but you didn't come every week with him at that point.
I did not come every week, partly because
Paige was playing
in
ball
softball.
all the time, yeah.
So we had tournaments almost every weekend. So I came when I could, and now. And back then, I'm like, oh, well, if I miss, I miss. I can just, clean the house or whatever.
Yeah.
But now I kind of feel guilty if I don't come. So
Do you like it? Do you like to come?
I do. Yes, I do like to come. And honestly, compared to my first time to now, I feel a lot more welcoming presence now than I did back then. Yeah. So.
Okay. So then you did the Walk to Emmaus, and then when did you guys get involved in Alpha? How did that happen?
Well, Bob just kind of said, "You're doing Alpha with me."
Because Bob was your grow group leader.
Yes.
Leslie
Bob's
Anderson's husband.
Leslie and Bob are group leaders. Yep.
Okay.
So he's just like, "Oh, I'm going to start this Alpha group, and guess what? You're going to help me."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
And I think that's the power of the Grow Group, because really you form the tight bonds with everybody. And we had somebody in our group when we first started that did a lot with the Salvation Army. So they would be like, tonight we're doing this at the Salvation Army, and we'd all go. I mean, it was just like, because you have that tight bond that when somebody in the group asks for help, you just you go for it. So I would say that if somebody's not in a grow group, I mean, that's the kind of level of like commitment and bond that you make with everybody. Is that,
Yeah.
somebody in the group needs a babysitter or something, and you just jump in and you do it. And But anyway, yeah. So when
Yeah,
so when Bob says I'm starting Alpha up, and I need some volunteers, to help with it. I mean, it's like everybody in the group's like, well, what do you need?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't an immediate yes. Let me tell you that, because I pondered on it for a while, and I'm like, oh my gosh, do I? Don't I? Do I? Don't I? But I felt this tugging, and I just told him, I said, well, it's way out of my comfort zone, but okay, I'll do it. So, and we've gone through 3 classes now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're starting another one up in September.
Yeah. So what was the best part of Alpha for you?
The best part of Alpha, probably connecting with other people. My very first one that I was involved in, the forgiveness part was the biggest one. I connected with this other person that was struggling, probably still is struggling with forgiveness. And we just had this bond, and now I meet with her every couple of weeks, and, we just chit chat and talk and
that's awesome.
whatever. So that, and, just understanding all of the hard questions, like if you're on the fence about, like, I didn't grow up in the church. So, I always knew there was a God, but didn't know the power of it.
Yeah.
Alpha will help you through that and kind of explain that. And we talk a lot about the Holy Spirit and forgiveness and, how to pray, how to read the Bible and all that stuff. So it's, if you're like me, when I was growing up, didn't know anything, Alpha is the perfect course to get you going or continue you on and get you deeper in your faith. So,
yeah. Yeah, I've gone through it several times just as a leader, and every time I see a video, I get something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of like, as a musician, they always have those like back to basics. Like they'll have a guitar course that's like back to the basics, and it's like you think you know everything because you've been doing it forever, but it's like, oh wow, I forgot those fundamentals that
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that about the videos, because I've gone through 3 courses and the videos are the same through the whole thing. And each time I watch it, I get something different out of it. I come up with a new question, or, I'm like, oh, I missed that the first time. So, yeah.
It's interesting, and I've probably said this before, but, Janice and I, when I was out of seminary, one of the first things that we did when we were at Pontiac was start an Alpha course. And we, led, maybe 4 or 5 different groups through Alpha. Anyway, so then leave it alone. And the videos were way different then. It was just Nikki Gumbel lecturing, right? And so those were good though. But then I've been in ministry now, 20 years since then or 19 years since then. And I watched them again, the new ones, and like just the way they talk about the Holy Spirit and the way they talk about the Bible. I'm like, oh, so that's where I got the way I talk about those things. Mm-hmm. It was from those Alpha videos over and over. Yep. So to me, I love it because, what we really need to do is not always learn new things, but be refreshed and reminded on the basic things of Christianity.
Right.
So, you say you didn't know the power. You said that a couple of times. You knew there was a God, but you didn't know the power. So what is behind that? What do you mean didn't know the power?
Well, okay, so here's the main thing that I always refer to. Okay, so being a single parent, your kids are going to give you some troubles every once in a while. So one of my daughters, I was pondering on, she was starting to go down, not a bad path, but I could see that she was veering. And so I just sat there every night and I'm like, how am I going to fix this? What am I going to do, to make her see that that's not, what she needs to be doing? And it was probably 3 or 4 nights every night. I'm like, how am I going to do this? I didn't actually pray. I guess I didn't realize it. And then one morning I woke up and I'm like, I got it. This is what I'm going to do. And now I realize that was the power of God talking to me when I just thought I came up with it on my own.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by I didn't understand the power of it.
Like the real practical,
Yeah.
everyday experience of God.
Yeah.
He really helps us in our everyday.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Megan?
Just moving the mic. Sorry.
What are you thinking about over there, Megan? So you had your Sour Patch Kids quietly.
Just trying to be quiet.
She was just
I was like, Tim's gonna be mad at me. I'm eating Sour Patch
she was
Kids
just
during this.
loading up the mic so that when she's ready to fire.
Yeah.
I
anything.
love Sour Patch Kids. Absolutely love them. No, I do, man. As I get older, the more I love Sour Patch Kids.
That's probably something that Rae will go to like Walmart, and we're shopping at Walmart, and you know she's got like a list, right, of things that we need, right, that we need, you know, paper towels, toilet paper, milk, bread, those kind of things. I'm the type that goes down the candy aisle and I'm like, oh, that looks good. Put it in the cart. That looks good. And then I mean, it takes me a long time to eat that stuff, but like, that's the difference one of the differences between us.
Yeah.
I guess I do have a question though. You're talking about realizing the power of God. Do you have like a salvation moment that you remember, like giving your life to Christ or anything? Some people do, some people don't. I really don't. But I mean,
Not one that really stands out.
Yeah.
I mean, the walk to Emmaus was very powerful for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I have a moment, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah, I think it happens that way for a lot of people. They just find themselves in traveling on a journey, and then one day they realize, whoa, I'm in a totally different place than I was a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how would you say your life is different now that you've kind of embarked on this journey just in the last 7
Just a couple
years
years,
or
yeah.
so? Yeah. How do you say God's made a difference in every day?
I don't know. I guess I try to see more of the good in things than concentrate on the bad. Or I used to be very judgmental, especially, with my family members and, just people in general. And I don't see myself doing that much anymore. I try to be positive and be, try to put myself in their shoes and be like, just because they don't have name brand stuff doesn't mean, they're not a good person or whatever.
Sure.
Well, I can see a difference because, she said with her ex-husband, I mean, at the first part of our marriage, that was always a big stress point and like could ruin a day. You know what I mean? Like it could, like a text or a voicemail could just ruin the day. And then there came to the point where that didn't matter anymore. You know what I mean? Like it just
Doesn't have any power.
Yeah, it had no power. It didn't affect anything. It was just like, oh well.
Yeah.
Like, oh well.
Oh, he's not getting them again. Oh, well, okay, now we can go do this.
Yeah.
So,
So, I think a lot of people wrestle with the forgiveness that you are talking about. And it seems like it's feeling, you felt differently about forgiveness. Were there certain breakthrough ideas or thoughts, or was it just being able to talk about it openly with other people? Like, what was how would you talk to someone who didn't know that they could get past that anger about what was helpful?
well, first off, I would say forgiveness does not have a timeline. Does not have a timeline. It could take you minutes. It could take you years. And I would say, just talking about it with other people that have gone through it or, praying about it. The Grow Group honestly really helped me a lot because we met every week and, they gave suggestions on, what I could do and whatever. And, I guess I didn't understand at that point before my forgiveness moment that, God died on the cross for us and forgave us of our sins. So why am I holding this on so tightly when it's just causing me more anger and frustration? It's not hurting him at all.
Yep.
It's just hurting me. Yes.
Yeah.
So, so that helped a lot. I guess for me to just one day just let it go.
Yeah.
So
Was there a moment when you let it go, or did you just realize one morning, it's okay?
I felt different.
Yeah.
When I woke up, I honestly felt different. My shoulders felt lighter. My spirit was happier. I just felt different. Like it was just taken off, you know?
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
It's great.
It is great. Man, so many people are walking around just so tight
I know.
and wound up. I mean, it's something we all wrestle with, right? Because, I mean, you could be cut off in traffic. You know, someone could say something rude to your child or another child and it ticks you off, you know. Taxes could go up or anything. I mean, and then we just carry this around and it just restricts like a snake, you know, just sucking the life and the joy out of us. Yeah.
So was that part of the issue of the forgiveness? Was you thinking that he had a part, like that he had to do something like mutually forgive, like that, like you felt that was never going to happen, so there could never be any
I guess I just
forgiveness
was
with it.
Carrying on the events of the past and wishing he would have done something different, wishing he would open his eyes and realize what he's done and how he treated us and stuff like that. That's, I think, what I was carrying with me, is wishing he would have changed. But I can't change him. I can only change myself. And so that might have been part of realizing that finally I cannot, he's going to be the way he's going to be.
Yeah.
And so then I have to let it go.
Yeah.
So how much did Bob charge for you to be in this grow group?
Nothing.
How about that? I mean, think about that. What does it cost an hour to see a therapist with all this stuff, you know? And you could just join a grow group. You know?
Exactly.
And actually, I mean, it's such a great story of like transformation taking place through a grow group.
Yeah.
Right? People might not understand what's the benefit. Well, this is the benefit, you know, talking through people, you know, the positive peer pressure, and then to take more steps and that kind of a thing. So how long do you remember? It's. I know I'm asking you to put timelines together in your head, and that's hard. But do you remember how long you were in the group before you felt different?
It was probably a couple of years.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't talk about forgiveness every time.
Yeah.
So it
Almost every time.
well, it came up a lot, but
Yeah.
you know, we would talk about other things, but I just couldn't let it go. So I had to keep pulling him back and revisiting it.
Yeah.
So I think it was probably a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was that like for you? So after not growing up in the church, and then, you know, coming to worship, you know, because Tim's working here and you're just checking it out. And then all of a sudden you're in a group with other Christians talking about Christian things. So was that weird for you at first?
Oh yes. It was very weird because I knew nothing hardly about the Bible. So we would talk about like a certain scripture and I'm like, so I'd ask a question and it was probably the stupidest question ever. And, you know, Bob was gracious about it. And, you know, he's like, well, that's not really what it means. But, you know, so yeah. So I felt like an idiot at first, but that's the only way you're going to grow. And it's the only way you're going to learn is to just jump in and do it, I guess. So.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, think about it. I mean, if like being willing to be like the least informed person in the room is like a great way to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I know people, they don't want to be the person who knows the least in the room, but if you're the smartest person in the room, you're not going to learn anything and you're probably going to get dumber, you know? Yeah, I remember that was a big thing for me early on in the ministry, just being willing to sit at the table each week at this lunch group with pastors of churches who were like 10 times bigger than mine. Mm-hmm. And just, it was somewhat made me feel really inferior, you know, but then I'm like, if I can just keep going, I can like get free coaching every week, and I can see how they think of things, think about things. And over time, it really helped me become a great leader, you know, and yeah, I mean, was it hard on the old ego? Sure. But I mean, like, might as well go humble and get smarter than like, you know, protect yourself from feeling inadequate and just not learn. So,
Right.
yeah. So what are the things that in your current life that help you stay anchored to God the most? Are there certain things that you do that help you just continue to grow?
Well, I try to read or listen to on the Bible app. I'm a better listener than I am a reader. You know, like a passage every day. I try to. I don't always do it, but I try to. And I don't know. I mean, the power of prayer is amazing because, you know, you see people that have gone through things or they're sick and then all of a sudden, you know, they get a bunch of people praying for them and they're healed. So anytime I see somebody, you know, my whatever's really sick, you know, I need some prayers, whatever, I just say a short little snippet and go on.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, go ahead.
I'll say that, you know, something that Rae used to do, you know, she'd listen to the radio during the day and she'd tell me like 3 songs or something that she really liked, or, you know.
Oh, yeah. I used to tell him what music to play on Sundays.
And then I think she realized after a while that like I would never play them. So then I think she just stopped doing it.
I'm the same way. I would give him songs and they would never get played.
But I mean, music.
He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. But she'll tell me, you know, like a song or something, you know, that she's heard during the day.
Well, and that honestly, the radio in the car, it's either on WCIC or a talk radio. Tim's got me listening to that talk radio now. You know, it used to be like country music or rock music, and now it's more just Christian music.
Hey, have you all heard of this? There's another worship station in Peoria. It's like 107.9.
Yeah, at the end of the dial. Yeah.
Yeah.
When they used to have a dial.
Yeah.
It's like actual, you know, worship music. I mean, you know, really good stuff. But yeah, I didn't even know that was there until like a week or so ago.
Yeah, there's one in. He used to be on WMBD news on TV, and I think he retired. But he's got it's 100.3, but you can only really get it in Peoria. Once you cross the river, it goes out. But Sunday morning, it's like the gospel hour, and so you turn it on, and it's just like it's off and going. So like you know, early in the morning, driving to church Sunday morning, and you turn that on, and
the guy who calls himself Jesus. Do you listen? Is that on when you're coming? Because when I come in,
not when I
okay, when I come in,
scary.
There's a guy. I don't know. He calls himself Jesus, but people call in with issues, and he reads them scripture from the Bible, and he talks in like the first person. I this and I that, and it's pretty interesting.
It sounds interesting. Is this guy? Is he like sane or insane? Calling himself Jesus.
I don't know.
I don't know.
The 100.3 I do like because it's stuff that is not it's almost like a low budget radio station out of Peoria.
Yeah.
So like during the week they play like smooth jazz and like really old like 80s R&B, and then Sunday morning it's like independent, almost like churches just send in music. What? You know, and I get in the car and, you know, it's all hopped up clapping and hallelujah. Awesome. And it's like, okay, all right. I'm awake.
Yeah. I love some of that just gospel where it's just like a huge choir. Yeah. That's good stuff. So then, how has, you know, your coming to faith in Christ, you know, how has that affected your marriage?
I try to be a little more patient. And
someone needs patience to be married to me.
You know, and try not to blow up on the small things. You know, like if, you know, he empties his can of soda and leaves it on the edge of the counter when he takes 3 steps and it's the garbage. You know, I try not to, you
that
know,
never happens.
Blow up at him. You know, so, you know, I kind of try to pick and choose what I get angry about
Yeah.
more, I guess.
But you have more control to not just, that's
Yeah.
great.
So
That's great. That's funny. That's funny.
but I'm guilty too. I'll leave my, glass of water out on the end table all night long. I don't take it out to the kitchen when I go to bed. So I'm guilty too. So it's not just.
Does he get upset about that, or does he?
I just get upset because we got this new puppy that Rae tends to go to bed early. I tend to stay up. So the puppy will bring me things after she goes to bed, and I'm like, where did you get that from? Okay.
My hair clips,
Yep.
my glasses. Yeah.
I'm like, okay. All right.
It's funny.
We'll put that up.
So let's talk for a minute about these dogs. Tell me the ages, names, and breeds of the dogs you have.
Okay. Levi is 13 or 14. He's a big old blue heeler mix.
Okay.
Khaleesi is 4 or 5, and she's a yellow lab German Shepherd mix. And then Caesar is 4.5 months, and he's a Great Dane.
Okay. So where does it end? What's next? Like a small horse or a large horse?
Well, that's what Caesar's going to be.
Yeah.
So, well, I don't know. I keep teasing myself that, Levi only has probably a couple more years, if that, left in him. And I just keep questioning how long after that happens, Tim will be like, oh, we need another Great Dane.
Yeah. Well, then you will have lived with a Great Dane for a while and seen how much they eat and all that. And so, yeah.
Yeah. This was always our discussion with Rae and I, but it's like I don't have kids of my own, so my dogs are like
I hear you, Tim.
like my kids. So like
Bubbles is my child.
I know. So you understand that
Yep.
there's this I don't know, this just the way you feel about them,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And he loves the kids and the grandkids too. But
He does.
yeah, I get it if I understand it. But I'm the one that's home all day long taking care of them. So I have to be mentally ready for a new dog when we get one.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I remember we had 2 cats before we had kids. And one of the biggest crises I had was, so we had one of our cats. It was the first pet we had. We actually got her from a kid in our youth group in Austin, Texas. She was a biter.
Oh no.
Yeah. And I loved her. Her name was Gabby. And then we had this other one. So Gabby was a hostile cat, like from the get-go. I mean, just like she would cuddle and then she'd bite or claw. But like, hey, she's my cat. I don't, it's just be careful. She does draw blood. And then we thought, someone said, well, it's good to get 2 cats. So, because then they can learn what is appropriate play. So we brought home this rescue cat that is about twice the size of her. And it just made her angrier.
Oh, no.
So, I mean, she would just sit and tremble in anger. Anyway, but they were our cats, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like they were our kids. Mm-hmm. And then we had Landry. And Landry came home from the hospital. And my mother-in-law was holding him and brought him in. And he cried. And then Gabby jumped up and bit my mother-in-law's leg through her jeans.
Oh, no.
It got infected. I mean, I know. And then my dad was actually in the hospital at this time, and he called me at 5:30 in the morning. It's like, Jason, you've got new priorities now. Mm-hmm. You've got to get rid of that cat. And I'm like, get rid of the cat. It's like, how can someone have to choose between their cat and their son? Anyway, she made it a few more years, and then she got sick and died, and it was such a relief because we could not find a home for her. No one will take a bite.
I know.
The only barns, farmers that need micers, but we had to have her declawed, and so she wouldn't have lasted long out there. But yeah, anyway, completely digressing. Oh man. So well, hey, why don't you try to summarize some of the things we talked about and bring it home, Megan?
Talked about Rae and how she has found power of forgiveness through God and how that's changed her life, and how she's found a home here at Crossroads and loves her grow group. We're just thankful for Rae. Glad you're here.
Thanks.
Yay. And Alpha is starting up
Alpha.
again?
Yep, in September.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What would you say to someone who's not in a grow group and hasn't taken that step yet? And they're kind of nervous about whether it's good for them or not.
Whether a grow group is good for them?
Yeah.
Well, they're more than welcome to sit in on ours on Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
Yeah, we meet right after service and talk about what you two preach about. That'll give you a good beginning step on what a grow group is like. And
Yeah.
then, if ours isn't a good fit for you, Leslie can hook you up with another one.
That is really a great thing to think about. Like if your group moved from when you guys meet Monday nights, so you used to meet?
Yeah, we did Monday nights.
And you've moved to Sunday after the 10 o'clock service
Right.
so that people who want to try Grow Group can be a part of it and
Yep.
check it out.
Yep.
That is great.
And we've got married couples. We've got single people, all ages, So it's not like you're going to come and think you're a third wheel or you're a third and fourth wheel. Like you can come and anybody that listens to either of your sermons is going to have a question.
Right.
And it's a great place. And even if you don't want to ask a question, I'm sure somebody in the group's going to ask the question that you were thinking of. And then we discuss it. And it's pretty much that simple, So
Yeah. And we do have a great person, Linda Young, who was on staff here, and I send her a copy of the sermon every week, and she writes a study guide for the grow groups every week. So that's available.
Yeah, that study guide helps a lot.
That's cool.
So, yeah, I think that's a great idea.
That's cool. So if anybody also wants to start a grow group, again, we have resources to help you start one. Give you the leadership guide every week if you want to base it on a sermon. You can pull some people together and just follow through the outline that we provide. And you can start a grow group on your own. You can try it and contact us at the church office or Leslie at WashingtonCrossroads.com. And we can help you get started. And Alpha's going to be starting in a couple months.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us today, Rae.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, fun.